It all clearly hinges on how brutal the punch really is. Because if you get clipped, dropped unconscious, then allowed back up, you're basically lining up to be flattened again. Yeah, once you're knocked out, that's exactly why boxing steps in with those rules, right? And that sudden, fast, violent snap of the head sends massive rotational force not just through the brain, but straight through the brain stem, absolutely creating a concussion risk. Luckily, it didn't fully shut him down, but it could definitely trigger delayed symptoms. That's where speed matters most. And Anthony Joshua has that speed. Joe Rogan reacted after Jake Paul was hospitalized following the Anthony Joshua knockout while breaking it down with Daniel Cormier. Rogan highlighted how terrifying the punch looked and stressed that boxing is brutally dangerous. He explained that when fighters get hit clean at that level, the damage can be severe and permanent. Rogan emphasized that outcomes are never predictable and those impacts can stay with fighters for life. You look completely out cold, yet somehow he was outboxed for the rest of the round. How does that even happen? But again, in MMA, the fight likely ends sooner and with less damage taken, right? But doesn't that argue for letting him stand back up? Sports physician Brian Sutter analyzed the knockout aftermath in a calm, medical-focused breakdown. He explained the fight ended largely as expected, but concern spiked when Jake admitted he feared his jaw was broken. According to Sutter, a fractured jaw was very possible based on how Joshua's right hand landed clean on the left side of Jake's face. However, he stressed a concussion was the bigger worry. Jaw fractures often take a backseat initially to more dangerous threats involving the head, neck, or airway. The violent head rotation from that punch likely sent intense rotational force through the brain and brain stem, raising concussion risk. Even though Jake wasn't fully knocked out, delayed symptoms were still possible. Jake's shocked reaction showed he knew something serious happened, and the result was exactly what people expected. After the fight, Jake told Ariel Helwani he feared his jaw was broken. He repeated several times that he believed it was fractured. Watching the knockout punch Joshua landed, it's absolutely possible Jake suffered a jaw fracture. Honestly, the concussion would be the bigger concern. With most jaw fractures, the first priority is checking for head, neck, or airway injuries. Whether the jaw is fractured often ranks lower than potential brain or airway damage. So a concussion or lingering symptoms are very possible, as Jake Paul's head stays relatively still here. We see AJ explode in. Right. That fast, violent rotation again sends force through the brain and brain stem, absolutely raising concussion chances. Thankfully, it didn't fully shut him off, but delayed symptoms remain possible. You can see the punch land flush on the left side of Paul's face. Jake's reaction said everything. Immediately, he dropped to the canvas, visibly stunned. There's no obvious jaw deformity, but fractures don't always show outward signs. You can tell he instantly realized something serious happened and felt the full power of AJ's right hand. In this final angle, we clearly see where the punch lands. Jaw anatomy matters here. The temporomandibular joint, where the jaw connects to the skull, sits right around that spot. The jaw angles downward like this. Joshua's punch lands flush in the center of the mandible, dangerously close to that joint. Joe Rogan had already predicted before the fight that this wouldn't end well for Jake Paul. He explained Jake was used to older or retired opponents, but this time he stepped in with one of the world's best heavyweights. Rogan warned the level gap would be ruthless and unforgiving. On the Joe Rogan Experience, he said this matchup was insane. You take a guy who boxed a 58-year-old Mike Tyson in what looked like a sparring session, then throw him in with one of the scariest knockout artists alive. Rogan suggested watching the Francis Ngannou fight to understand Joshua's power against someone not in his league. He pointed out that Alexander Usyk beat Joshua twice, and Andy Ruiz dropped and stopped him spectacularly. Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua sparked massive reaction across boxing. Some fans praised Jake's courage. Many respected voices pushed back hard. Luke Thomas led that criticism. He said the praise was wildly exaggerated. People applauded Jake for surviving, not competing. Thomas noted Joshua didn't fight at full intensity and clearly pulled punches. From his view, this wasn't competitive boxing. It was a controlled situation where an elite heavyweight showed restraint. Jake didn't show skill, growth, or tactics. He looked overwhelmed, hesitant, and uninterested in winning. Thomas admitted Joshua looked rusty and that Jake is slightly better than critics claim. But he was clear. Jake has limited ability. Very limited. He's not good. He's not the cartoon villain people paint, but the hype goes too far. Social media reactions after the fight were extreme. Thomas felt people overreacted. He didn't think the fight was good. Most Jake Paul fights aren't. Surviving feeds the illusion he's better than he is. Joshua wasn't carrying him, but he wasn't stepping on the gas either. He clearly pulled punches. Lawrence Oakley took a different angle but reached the same conclusion. Boxing is unforgiving. One mistake ends everything. Fame doesn't make mismatches acceptable. Stepping in with Anthony Joshua was reckless. Boxing doesn't care about attention. He called this fight decision absolutely unnecessary and, frankly, foolish, showing just how easily it could have gone south. Sure, critics roasted him, but some actually gave Jake Paul props for taking hits and pushing forward. After the bout, reports confirmed Jake was hospitalized with a serious jaw injury. A few commentators spun this as toughness, saying stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua proved courage. The focus was on resilience, not technique. Even those giving a nod stopped short of calling Jake a legit pro boxer. The story painted bravery over skill. Taking damage and surviving earns respect in boxing, but alone, it doesn't redefine you. Courage without competitiveness doesn't change your status. Jake's injury showed the real cost and raised the question, should fights like this even happen? And yes, the hospital visit confirmed it. He said, "I think I broke my jaw." We all saw the X-ray on Instagram. No AI trickery. Jaw shattered, reconstructed, wired. No hard foods for a while. Still, Jake gets some credit. One thing we know, he's always been entertaining. The problem? He gave us fights we didn't need and avoided ones that truly tested him. He threw Tommy Fury in there, who actually beat him, fine, but Jake did land a left hook. That was impressive. Other than that, Mike Tyson, Anderson Silva, both still dangerous, especially Silva at 50, moving with grace, wisdom, picking shots like a master. Jake beat him, yes, and suddenly his stock rose. Adam Catterall wasn't impressed. He slammed modern boxing for favoring fame over skill. Joshua didn't even go full power, yet still caused serious damage. Imagine if he had. Catterall said this fight epitomized the problem. Hype over merit. Internet celebs get opportunities pros spend years chasing. Jake's participation wasn't skill, it was spectacle. Stand in the ring thinking, I've got to knock you out, but gently, right? And that punch shattered his jaw in 2 spots. Joshua walks away with the cash, but maybe secretly thankful he didn't destroy him. Relief all around. Athletic Commission signed off, but it wasn't a fight, it was a prize event. Joshua damages him, he lives with it forever. Stress levels insane. And yet, fans and critics alike kept dissecting. Tommy Fury, not near the caliber of a British title fighter. He's basically Big J Paul. Stats show 5-6 million followers, sure, but pedigree? Debatable. True Geordie offered a nuanced take. Jake's rise is inspiring, human story admirable, but in-ring performance? Nada. Hesitant movement, weak offense, surviving rather than competing. Boxing doesn't care about narrative, it's actions that matter. Broken jaw symbolizes expected outcome when skill gaps are ignored. Hard to judge, respect for his journey versus disappointment in the fight. Now, we just want to see Jake in a competitive bout. That's the issue. Big fights, yes, but never competitive. Chavez Jr., easy. Nate Diaz, easy. Mike Tyson, easy. Joshua, not competitive, because Jake wasn't supposed to win. Chips stacked too heavily either way. Result, we never truly know Jake's limits. Maybe deliberate. Promoting genius. Late 20s now, physical prime ticking. Time to face real contenders. He's not a cruiserweight. Light heavyweight at best. Look shredded. Fight ranked opponents. Prove your place. Even if he hustled attention, credit where due, master promoter. Paulie Malignaggi, harsh critic, world champ standards, dismissed the fight outright. Jake didn't try to win, he aimed to survive. Knees, time wasting, spectacle over contest. Malignaggi's frustration, respect for the craft. Boxing is sacrifice, discipline, years of grind. Watching survival earn applause, insulting. Fight didn't advance boxing. Jake went out on his shield, ran for his life 5-6 rounds, football jukes, every inch of that huge ring used for survival, not offense. I mean, this guy literally never tried to win a second of the fight. He threw a home run punch here and there like it mattered. Every time he hit a clinch, he basically hugged Anthony Joshua and hit the canvas. Ref calls it a slip, he gets a break, rinse and repeat. Then he was fully angled off, belating his shoulder so hard he couldn't throw a punch. Just trying to be the tiniest target possible. Now people ask, Why didn't Joshua chase him? Fast feet aren't his thing. Could he have cut the ring better? Sure, that's my only critique. But really, what could he do? The guy ran for his life in a 22 by 24 ring. Massive. I can't believe what I just watched. Guys, seriously, that's it. AJ's moment to go out on his shield, earn respect in the boxing community, wasted. He came out doing rap stuff, Hulkmania, all that circus. And I'm thinking, is he calm or just setting up his own demise? AJ walked in serious, as expected. Jake, never fought, not once, and in the end, stopped anyway, took shots anyway, mouth bleeding. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Till next time.